If you enjoy truthful and heartfelt conversations to inspire you to become a better version of yourself, empowering stories will help you. Hello, Jacqueline. Good morning for you. Good afternoon for me. How are you today?
I'm doing well. I'm fantastic. I'm so happy to be here, and for having me on so I can share my message with your audience, and I hope that everybody will be listening and paying attention to what I'm gonna say, because it's a life-changing information that I will give to your audience member.
I'm sure that everybody is already intrigued. What is she going to talk about? What is she going to talk about? Well, Jacqueline Audige, and she can say her name properly. Sorry if I cannot pronounce it properly, and not even full, because there's something in the middle.
Jacqueline Audige.
Thank you.
Jacqueline Audige is my married name, and my maiden name is Chouassi, which means problem solver.
Look at that.
Yeah.
And that's perfect, because what does she do? She helps couples and individuals to live in harmony with each other, pretty much. Yeah. She works for coaching for harmony, and as it says behind her. And she's going to tell us everything about this harmony, because my God, do we have problems in relationships? Do we have problems at work with other people? Normally it's not the work itself, normally it's the people that we work with. And well, under the same roof, that's when everything happens, isn't it, Jacqueline? By the way, Jacqueline has been introduced by Will Phillips. Thank you so much, Will, for bringing such a wonderful person.
Thank you. Yes, I'm so grateful to Phil for making this introduction. We met in a group, and we were in the room together, and he said, I have because I told him I was looking for stage to spread my message, because I have such a great message that I know that many people are out there going through what I went through before I get where I am today. And if they hear my message, they will be able to maybe take something out of what I'm going to say, or touch base with me and work with me to get the result that I got for myself. So that's why he said, "Oh, wow, I have a wonderful person."
Tell us about your wonderful message, because if we get along with each other, I mean, that's it. Peace all over the world. Peace all over the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the message is just that I was having difficulty. Just let me start with the good news is that a few weeks ago, I was walking, and I walk every day. That's my way of recharging. And I was walking. I was coming up the hill, and usually I walk and I have my music in my earphone, and I don't pay attention much because I'm in my head when I'm working, and I walked past this homeowner. It was in my neighborhood, and she was walking her dog, and at some point she said, "Let's go, buddy." That attracted my attention, and I look at her. I glanced at her, and I saw the dog that was just standing there. The dog didn't want to move, and he was gazing at me. And so I removed my headphone, and I asked her, "What's going on?" And she said to me, "Since my dog saw you coming up or down the hill, he stopped walking. He didn't want to move." So, and I said, "So do you want me to pet her? Do you give me the permission to pet her? Maybe he want me to pet her." And she said, "You can do so, but it's not necessary because this behavior is unusual. My dog has never stopped for anybody. He has, usually I walk every day with my dog, but he he never stopped to look at somebody the way that he has been looking at you. So, and I said, okay. And she was like, I'm so surprised. I don't know what you have, but there is something in you that is attracting my dog.
I just felt something.
So at that moment, I left at that moment, and because I talked to the dog, I said, okay, buddy, I'm glad to meet you. I didn't pet the dog because the whole owner didn't give me the permission. And I didn't pet the dog, and I just continued walking. And at that time, I said, finally, people are noticing me, even the dog. Because for many years, I was invisible. And I was invisible because of the pain that I was carrying in me. My relationship was falling apart. And I did everything. I was arguing with my husband all the time. We fought all the time. It wasn't going well. My children were suffering. I was in pain because I couldn't find the right solution. I went through a lot. I went to many professionals to look for solution, and none of the solution that they were giving me worked. And I was stuck. I didn't know what to do. And to the point that I thought my best way out was to get a divorce. And I went so far as to call a divorce lawyer. And the divorce lawyer said to me, you have to put down a 5,000 retainer before I can look at your case. This was the catalyst for me, because when I heard $5,000, it shook me. It was like a ton of brick hitting me. I said, not because I couldn't pay the $5,000, but just because I thought, I'm going to pay $5,000 to destroy 27 years of marriage. At the time, I was married for 27 years. And what about my children? And I look at myself and I said, this is a very selfish decision. There must be somebody out there who can help me. It's at that moment that I said, I have to go out. I have to continue looking. I will continue look. There is solution somewhere out there, but I'm just getting tired and I want to give up, but I shouldn't give up because there is a lot at stake to get a divorce. So coincidentally at work.
Oh, coincidentally, yeah, sure.
Yeah, coincidentally at work, I have a problem. I have a problem because when you don't have that peace inside you,
yeah,
everything in your life falls apart. Yes, because misery always invites misery. Yes, you can't be miserable inside and invite peace. It's almost impossible.
I love that.
So I have this problem at work, and I was talking to my colleague. I told her what I was going through, and my colleague suggests a coach. I didn't know what to expect from a coach, because at that time the only thing that I know about coach were football coaches in the sports world. I didn't know that there was coach for relationship. I didn't know that there was coach for anything else besides sports.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, I'm gonna try. Why not? I will try. So I went to see this coach, and the coach started working with me. The coach scheduled me for 10 sessions. In 5 sessions, I found a resolution for my business issue. Oh. And it's at that point that I said, okay, I'm doing my work, because at this time, at that moment, I was working with my nonprofit. I have a nonprofit to provide girl with education support to advance from middle school to high school in rural community in Cameroon. So I've said to myself, so this everything that the question that she was asking me, the way that she coaches me, was the same thing that I was practicing in my business. I was coaching my staff in Cameroon because I'm based in the US, and the program is in Cameroon, and it's very successful. So and I'm based in the US, and I talked to my staff there in Cameroon. I coach them, and they do the work, and it works very well. The program has been going for 7 years now, and it's very successful.
Fantastic.
So I say, oh, so this is called coaching. What I've been doing was
Simple
coaching.
as. Simple as.
And I didn't know that I was coaching. So it's at that moment when after working with her and got my result after 5 sessions, I made this that inspired me. And I said, I have to go and train to learn at least the technique of coaching. So yes, that was my decision. And I enrolled in a coaching training. And I was doing the coaching for a year. And as during this coaching training, that I was using the techniques and applying that on me. I started using that technique and experimenting with them on me. And I started transferring that to my relationship. And in no time, I was talking to my husband. The bickering was gone. And the argument that we had all the time, and the communication was back. And we were hugging in no time.
Wow.
Yes. And when I saw that, I started recording everything that I did that was working. I started recording that. And by the time that I finished my coaching training, my relationship was back to normal. And I discovered during the coaching, during that experimentation, that the problem that we were having in the relationship were just symptoms. They weren't the real issue. The real issue was that we didn't understand each other.
Yeah.
We didn't understand each other because we have different way of communicating. That's what I discovered. And when I finished my my training and having my relationship back, having my husband back, I said my problem is not unique. I'm not unique. And I said, I wish somebody had told me, because I went through a lot. We went through a lot of difficulty and unnecessary difficulty in our relationship, to the point that I've thought of divorce, something that I wish today I say I wish I'd never thought of that, but you can't go back and turn towns around.
Well, that was your pivot point. That was your lowest point. And from there, you turned around. If you hadn't
Exactly.
thought of getting a divorce, maybe you would still be struggling with your husband and with work and with not being seen, which is something that I've written down here. And now you're seeing.
I'm seeing. But it's especially when I have that dog standing for me, and the owner said to me, I never seen this with my dog. This dog, I don't know what you have, because she didn't say the dog. She said, I don't know what you have inside you, but there is something special about you. it took that statement to wake me up and said, and I started saying, "Oh, really?" So, so I have, because I clean up my inside. I clean up my inside. It wasn't that people weren't seeing me. It was that I was blinded by my own issue, by my relationship issue. I was just blinded by that.
Yeah.
And I, it's the joy that I have about me that attracted the dog.
Yes.
It was the joy that I have inside me because I'm working, I'm singing, I'm feeling good about myself.
Yes.
How come you won't attract even the fly? You will attract
Makes sense. Yes. Yes.
So when I finished, when I noticed that this worked for me, I made a decision that I'm gonna turn this. I call them my secret ingredient. I'm gonna put that out there and start helping other couple because I wish I have somebody have told me that there was coaching, and that coaching was what I needed because I
Yes.
went to therapy. Many of them. I even went to see a psychologist for my marital counselor, and I was dragging my husband there. You know, the poor guy was coming. Not, and I don't say poor guy because he was part of the problem, but the person who was really who had to create that environment of love and understanding was me. And because I was the one who was looking for that harmony, I was the one looking for that harmony. So because every relationship needs a hero, and I happen to be that hero in my relationship.
So you
So
think that each person needs to be a hero, and by that I mean being responsible of their own stuff, or each relationship has one hero and another one who's not, like a leader and a follower? How does it work from your experience?
yes, when I say hero in the relationship is that when I know that with my husband, I was arguing and that create a power struggle, because he was pulling on his side, I was pulling on my side. But we have to come together, and one person has to make that move to bring everything together. That's what I call hero. And I was the one who made that move, you see. So I consider that we have a couple, but in the couple you have individual, and that you just two individuals that came together to create that relationship. And if the moment come that you have that power struggle, because the problem create that power struggle. The power struggle doesn't just come in. It's the problem that you have that open the door to that power struggle.
Yes, it creates it.
Yes. And everyone
Manifestation
wants
of
to.
what's inside. Yeah, it's a manifestation of what's inside.
Exactly. It's the manifestation of what you have inside you that is coming out in your relationship. Because that's what I found, and that's what I discovered, is that if we all are working with baggage. You have a baggage. Whether you like it or not, you have a baggage. And if you don't resolve that, you will get in the relationship, and the relationship will be like the plateau. It's the stop. That is the great stop. You have to stop there because there is no other way you're gonna go, and everything will start flowing inside and come out and contaminate your relationship. And that's what I discovered working through my shift, going to coaching and start working through my shift, and that's all the stuff that I did. when I was going through my experimentation, I was doing my experiment on myself, and I discovered first that the to really for relationship issue, you have to start with the first date. You have to go back to that first date and
Mm.
see what type of discussion you had with your partner. Because during that first date, your partner said something to you that was so important to them. Because what I discovered also is that during the first date, nobody lie. If you are a liar in by nature, that day you will tell the best lie. If you are somebody who tell the truth, on during the first date, you will tell the best truth of your about yourself.
So,
So
so that's how you start mending the relationship, so to speak. You go
yes,
back, number one, you go back to the first date that you had with the other person.
yes.
That's not,
In the relationship, you
yes.
go back to that first date and go through what you discovered, what you discuss with your partner. It can. I have a client who has been married, who was married for 30 years when she came to me, and I said, you have to go back to that first date. She said to me, I don't know after 30 years if I will
I
remember.
remember.
Yes, but it's one thing that doesn't leave your mind, because that day you heard the person say what you will discover. Your partner said to you, maybe they say, I don't like to run, but I love walking, you know. And you say, and you listen, and you heard him. You heard the problem is that we hear, but we don't pay attention,
Mm.
because you have to listen to really pay attention, you know. If you want to if you want to give emphasis, put emphasis in what a person said, you have to listen. And when
Yes.
you listen, you have to pay attention, because hearing, your ear are open, you hear everything. You can hear noise,
And goes.
you know, you can hear noise. But to really give that your attention to somebody, you have to listen. And I said to that client, you know, that stuff, that one important thing that your partner said to you on that day doesn't leave you. Go back, because when for me, for example, my husband said something to me that was very important to him, and I heard him, and I said, okay, I'm gonna see, you know, I will see. So, and I just said, it's just a talk, you know, it's just a talk. When we married, he will get over that.
He
That
changed.
yes, he will change. He will
Or I
change.
will change him. Or I will change him, which is what.
Yes, I will convince him to change that, you know. But no, no, usually that's the reaction. Oh, I will convince him or her to change that. You know, once he get to know me very well, all that will change. No, no, you have to pay attention to that, because what I discovered during my in my own relationship, that was the source of our problem.
Mm.
And many of many of my clients, that's what they get to also discover that. Oh, really? I didn't know that. I didn't.
Normally, is the expectations are not fulfilled. We have the expectation that this person is going to be whichever way we picture in our heads, even though
Yeah,
they're telling us the opposite. Yeah.
it's the opposite. It's the opposite, because somebody, like I said, during the first date, each person is honest. They're telling you something that is about themselves. It has nothing to do with you. They're telling you who they are. and what they want in their life. And instead of listening, and it's normal because during the first date, you're there to conquer the relationship. It's the courtship. And you don't want to even waste your time having argument. Nobody wants to argue during the first date. You want to be in your best behavior during the first
Yes.
date, And sometimes when you leave your date that day, you just say, okay, it's over. That's what comes back when you get when either when you get together, you living together, or you married, or you just continue to date. It doesn't go away because they told you who they were, and you think that you're going to change that person just by by being with them. It doesn't work that way.
When you coach people, the first thing would be, who did I tell you they were? And maybe, who did you tell them you were? And now here we are being ourselves and in a conflict. Now, at this point, we say, yeah, this person told me this, and I just thought that he would change, that was not important, whatever. What's the next step now?
The next step is commit to authenticity, because to be able to go back, because you have to go back and tell your partner and open that page in your relationship. You have to go back and open that page, and to do that, you have to commit to authenticity. Commit to authenticity in the relationship. You have to prove that you're trustworthy. You have to be honest, and it's by working on that honesty that you will have the courage to go back and say to your partner. And this is something that you told me when we met the first time, and I didn't pay attention to that, because you're going backward. It's the trick. Is you take that trip down the memory lane. It's the trip down the memory lane, and to do that trip, to take that trip, you have to be honest with yourself.
Yeah. But what I'm getting here as well, Jacqueline, is that the other person, both parts of the couple, they both need to be open and honest.
Honest.
Both of them need to be open to change. Both of them need to be open to admit, oh yeah, that's right, I own that, rather than put the blame on the other one, because then we're getting nowhere, right?
That's exactly that's right. But there is the but.
Okay.
At the beginning, I told you there is always a hero in each relationship.
Oh yeah.
And although I'm working with in the couple, there is an individual. So you have, because initially when I started my program, I was working with a couple, and I discovered that the couple, when they came back to me and said, we're still struggling, we're still having this difficulty. And so I started with this program, and I said, because I went back to my own relationship, because that's my starting point. That's my role model. That's my model for everything that I'm doing here, because everything that I'm doing, I apply that in my relationship. So I saw in my relationship that I was the hero in my relationship. My relationship is working well today because I work on myself first. I work on myself first before I brought the person that I was in the relationship. I'm the one who opened that wound and said, we're going to fix it. I don't know if I answer your question in that regard.
Yes, there's going to be one taking the lead, so to speak. But the second one, your husband, in this case, he had to be open to apply some changes rather than just putting the blame on you. Oh, you this, and I'm perfect here because I'm perfect here. I never told you a lie or whatever it is. It's good to be both trying to get to the same point, even though one is taking the lead. Is that how it works, Jacqueline? Or
No, that's not how it works. That's where
oh, right.
that's not how it works. That's why you put me to the third shift that I have. My
Oh,
third ingredient
oh,
is writing a letter of forgiveness. You
um,
have to write a letter of forgiveness, because once you work on being honest, now it's time to do the work. And this is the secret ingredient that is powerful. That
oh,
yes, this one is really powerful. It's writing that letter of forgiveness, because this is your inner journey. You have to go to take that inner journey. Once you write the inner journey, all those questions that you asking, you want that they disappear. They
yes.
disappear.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's mental. All those questions are mental, but they are not coming just from love. That
Yes,
has no polarity. Yeah.
because once you write that letter of forgiveness, it takes you to that initial person that you were before you meet your partner.
Yes.
Because I told you that those difficulties that we have in our relationship and we carry everywhere. I have a client who came in when she wrote the letter of forgiveness. She went on the rampage of forgiveness, because you in the letter you start by forgiving yourself.
So yeah.
You know, and when I did that myself, I did that for me first, and I wrote the letter. Address the letter to my husband, but you can pick anyone, because once you go through the process with me, you will learn a lot. It's something that you will learn a lot. You will discover that maybe there is somebody in your life that you still holding grudge on what they did to you, or it might be your husband that you want to you want to write a letter to ask for forgiveness, but you start that forgiveness, that letter by forgiving yourself first.
Yeah.
You have to forgive yourself first. I have clients that ask me, what have I done to forgive myself? I said, that was my reaction to when I thought of this. But I discovered that I was holding something in me. For example, now I can talk everywhere freely, but I forgave myself for holding on the stuff that one of my instructor, I was in the class, and one of my instructor criticized my accent. And that stuff bothered me for years. I didn't go back and talk to the instructor, because what I could have done was to just talk to the instructor and say, my accent, I didn't create my accent. My accent is part of me. You can't criticize my accent. I don't know how to change my accent. I can't do anything than what I'm doing now. I can't do better. My accent is part of me. No, I carry that as a burden in my life. I burdened my life with that for many years.
So you forgive yourself for
I
having
forgave myself for
and gave
that.
him the power.
It gave me my power back.
Yeah.
Now I'm talking. I don't know who is listening. Now I'm talking about that, you know. So, and now I can talk in public, because in public, I was afraid. In meeting, I was afraid to talk. That stuff was affecting me psychologically. I
Yes.
was afraid to talk in meeting. But I have something to share with people. But because of just thinking that I have my accent, I don't know. And I didn't want, just because I was fearful that somebody else will criticize me, I have to forgive myself for that. And once I made that commitment to forgive myself for that. It was like I just went to the sea and threw that inside the sea and said, let go. I didn't talk to this person to this instructor. I didn't talk to them.
No,
But just by sharing that with the word is the best healing that I got out of it. So you go through that forgiveness letter and forgive yourself for whatever you're going to find in your life that you need to forgive yourself for. And ask for forgiveness. Now you forgive your husband or your partner or your co-worker. You forgive whoever you hurt along the way. I have a client, she went on the rampage of forgiveness. And she said, she came back and she said to me, I was at work today and I asked all my co-workers for forgiveness. Because I was hurting them. I didn't know that my relationship issue was bleeding at my work.
Yeah.
She said that, and I said, yes, that's what we all discover. And not everybody is capable. I have a client that came in, and when he reached this shift, he came back and he said to me, I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. And I said to him, maybe you're not ready. And if you can't go through the whole process, you won't get the result that you expect from my coaching. So the best way for you is to take time. And when you're ready, you come back and we continue the work. So he left. He said, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to do it. It's very difficult. I have one of my clients came back and said to me, after going through this process, she came back and said to me, I'm going to fire you. The next day the next time that she came back, she said, I'm going to fire you. Not that I'm going to, I thought of firing you.
All right.
Because this process was so difficult that I blame you for putting me through this. But once I did it, I'm coming back to tell you that I'm so grateful that I met you.
Because it takes a lot of courage to face the demons and to face the fact that we are not perfect, or we don't keep up with the image that we have of ourselves. So maybe we can change the image that we have of ourselves, right?
Yes. But when you do that, when you go through because you're just cleaning all the dirt, you're just cleaning all the web, the web that you have been entangled in, you just cleaning that. And once you get out of, because people were seeing, when you in this, when you have difficulty, people only see the facade. People don't see you. I told you at the beginning. People don't notice you. You feel invisible. It's not because you are invisible. It's because you in that web and you carrying so much pain in you that you forget that you are a person, a loving, caring, a giving person. You forget. And this is the process that when you go through, it erases all of that. It erases all of that. And I always say to my client that this process is there to eradicate all the problem that you have in your relationship. Because by experience, every client that I have, they come in once. That's it. They found themselves. They can come back to me with a different issue, not the same problem.
One of the questions that I have for you, two questions before we wrap it up. The first one is, what's the success rate, so to speak? So the question would be, anyone can do this?
Anyone can do this, whether you are a business person, whether you are married, living together, or whether you have a problem, your issue for 30 years, I have mine for 27 years, whether you just started, or even I say to young people that are engaged, I say to them, better do this now before you get in.
Makes sense.
Yes, I say
Anyone
it makes sense for you to do this now. My program is for everyone. It's for everyone because it works on you, the person, the individual. You gain your power. You have to once you do this, all the pain just disappear. Especially I call my secret weapon is the forgiveness letter.
Mm.
The other thing that you will do is to enhance this step, the forgiveness letter. That's the biggie in everything that I do, because I have many people, many clients that couldn't do it. Many of my clients, they couldn't do it. And I said, this is the best thing. This is what, because you have to go through that pain.
Yeah.
You have to revisit the pain that you have been carrying for years.
Yeah.
Because once you face that pain, and it's not easy, I'm telling you, I did it. I did it. And I myself went on rampage. I went back to my childhood to revisit the stuff that were bothering me, that I couldn't speak. I went through that. I went through that. And I went back. And I even confronted people in my life that did things to me. My father, I have a stepmother, and she did something to me when I was 5 years old. And I was still carrying that in my heart.
Wow.
I have to revisit that. Thankfully, she was still alive at the moment that I went through this process. I have to go back to her and say, you did this to me. Not to blame. I went back to tell her that this was hitting me. It was hitting me in my heart. You know, this was the pain that I carried for many years in my heart.
Wow.
More than 30 years, I had that pain. I was 5. Imagine, 5 years old.
Wow.
And she did this to me. And the shame that I carried with what she did to me stayed with me forever. And I had to go to her.
It can be done. So that's the good news. It can be done. My other question before you tell us where people can reach you,
Okay.
is this one, Jacqueline. What would be a reason for a marriage to end up in harmony, in peace? But is there any stage or any reason why it would make sense to you? Well, the marriage is gone this far, and now you can follow your own paths separately, even though in peace and harmony.
You can't have peace and harmony and end the marriage. I don't believe that.
Don't believe so?
Because I went through the process, and because you take ownership through my process, you take ownership of your own action, because when you say, okay, this happened because I didn't do this. My husband didn't hug me today because I didn't tell him. Because usually in the relationship, we don't speak up. That's why I have a shift in my sixth ingredient that is called separating yourself. Separating yourself is surrendering to wholeness. We in life, we seek perfection and we strive for perfection. Nobody's perfect. That's why with this shift, you have to surrender completely to wholeness. You have to be that whole person. And when you bring that whole person in, there is no way that you're going to get in, because and at this point, you're not expecting anything from anyone. You're not expecting that somebody tell you that you're so beautiful. You know that
You're beautiful. Nobody needs to tell me. Yeah.
I'm beautiful. I'm here. I love my accent. I'm here. You don't like it. That's your problem. Yes, I love my accent. I'm not hurting anybody with my accent. You know, I'm not hurting anybody. If I say something and you don't understand me, please ask me to repeat, or ask me to even record it. And maybe somebody else will tell you what I just said, you know. But I love my accent. It's just to answer your question, is that everything that you're doing here is for you to awaken your body, your heart, and your mind. Once you have all that back together, when you repack that together,
that's it.
there is no word that you won't conquer out there.
Wow.
Nothing will stop you. Nothing. And your relationship is the thing that start benefiting from all of this. It's your relationship with yourself, because this is the relationship with yourself that you're working. When you go through the process, you're working on the relationship with yourself first before you work on the relationship with others. And I started this because I saw that I was focusing on the couple, and then I came back to working on the individual. Couple were still facing difficulty when they finished with me. So I started working on the individual first. And then after you work on yourself, and you can go now and work on this.
The next layer.
Yes, you can go down and work, because I have the program for if you come in and you say, I just want to work on the couple, I will work with you on the couple. But if you come in and say, I'm an individual, I want to work on my relationship, mainly I suggest to my client to work on themselves first. Because you have to be that whole person before you can be happy anywhere. Because in my relationship, I was expecting my husband to make me happy. I was expecting him to make me happy. Nobody can make you happy. Nobody. Because happiness is intrinsic aspect of your life. It's inside yourself. You know, it comes from within. Happiness doesn't come from outside. That's the mistake that we all do. We think that we're gonna put that expectation on somebody else to make. They don't know what you want. If you don't tell your partner what you want, they won't know.
Yeah.
And that's what I work on with my client.
First, we need to know ourselves, what we want really to ourselves, for ourselves, out of self-love, not to please somebody, not because they're paying us to do that, not because society tells us that that's the right thing to do. It's, what do I really want?
One in my life. What do I want? Especially as an adult. Because when you are a child, you don't have any control. People tell you what to do. But once you become an adult, you have to revisit your life. And we tend to blame our parents. And I got that blame from my children, you know. We tend to blame things in our life on it's true. During the childhood, you don't have any control. But once you become an adult, you have to take that control back. You have to take that control back. Not with violence, but this is what I offer my client. And they do take control back.
Yeah.
From the childhood. I told you about me. From my childhood, I have to take that control back from my childhood. I went back and I did.
And when people want to work with your program, where can they reach you, Jacqueline?
Yes, they can reach me on my website. It's jalifecoaching.com/ newsletter. I'm on Facebook, Jacqueline Audige on Facebook. I'm on and I usually ask my client and people that are interested in the program also to book a call with me so I can see if my program is the best fit for them. So I have my Calendly address also, calendly.com/JA-coach/talk.
We'll have everything down below so that people can just click on it. Jacqueline, after talking to you, I feel like wearing my Superman's cloak and just start flying.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I have this feeling of we can do it. It's up to each one of us. We have that power. If we don't give it away, we can keep it all for ourselves. And then we can give more, which is a paradigm, but that's the way it works. So thank you so much, because you give so much energy, so much self-belief through your words. You are walking the talk, woman, and I love that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, my bigger, hairy, audacious goal is to help individual, at least 100, 1,000 individual and couple create that harmony in themselves by 2024. So call me, reach out to me, and be one of the 1,000 people. That's the challenge that I gave myself. So thank you for letting me share my message with your audience member. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And when you reach the goal, come back.
I will. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.